welcome, Mattias.
Thank you very much.
Hello, how are you?
I'm really great. It's been wonderful listening to Steve and his smartness and beautiful Irish accent. How are you?
We are fine. Yes, thank you. I hope everyone got to see the beautiful trailer. I will not try to pronounce it in Swedish, but a nearly normal family, which is the English title. How does a high school teacher decide to write thrillers, Mattias?
Well, it's been with me since I was a kid. I always wanted to write. So I've been writing since I was like 8 years old. I sat down and wrote my little stories. So I've always been writing, and I think I'm a writer who became a high school teacher more than a high school teacher who became a writer. Yeah.
I think you shared it with Dan Brown, who also wrote his first book at something like age 6 or 8, something like that. You've sold hundreds of thousands of books worldwide. Is this Netflix series, is this just the icing on the cake, or is this a next level for you as an author?
Oh, well, I think in one way it's another level, because of course I love writing books and that's what I do, but it becomes obvious when a Netflix series is out there that you reach out to so many more people. The since Friday, when the series came out, my mailbox has been filled with with people who have seen this all over the world, and that really doesn't happen when a book is released.
Have you had a lot of emails from fans who read the books already as well, or is it mostly new viewers, readers?
I'd say it's both, because many people have also written that they love the book, and that the series is quite close to the book, and that many people say that it's a good they have done it successfully.
Does it change you as an author, or just does it change the way you write, this amount of success? Do you keep it in mind?
Well, when I think I'd written 5 books when I wrote A Nearly Normal Family, and my 5 first books were not very successful. They were like most books are. But when A Nearly Normal Family was released, it was sold to 36 countries, and it was sold to Netflix, and it made huge success in Sweden and in many other countries. So it really affected me, because I had always wanted to. When I started a new project, I had always thought that now I'm going to write something better than I've ever done. But after A Nearly Normal Family, I was thinking, how can I ever write something like that again? So it affected me for maybe half a year or a year when I was trying to write my next book. But then I realized that you can't know what's going to be a success. If I've known that, I wouldn't have written anything else. But you can only write what you find interesting yourself, and what you like to read yourself. And then if it's a success, it is. If it's not, it's not.
You at least you recovered a lot faster than George R. R. Martin, because you think he's still cannot write. And you still teach, right?
No, actually not.
Oh,
I did for many years. I was teaching half-time and writing half-time, but when a nearly normal family was a success, then I got to travel all over the world, and I really didn't have time to teach. So since a couple of years ago, I'm a full-time writer, but I love teaching as well. So maybe sometime I'll go back to school.
did you take, because I know you took inspiration from your daughters when you wrote a nearly normal family. Did you take any inspiration from your work as a teacher?
Yeah, definitely. Um, the first inspiration was that I was thinking about my daughters who were younger at the time, but I was thinking about how it would be for me to be father to a teenage daughter, and that's the whole idea came up with. And I don't think I could write about a 19-year-old girl as well as I did if I hadn't been a teacher, because I met those girls every day, and I think I was kind of into to the teenage world and so on. So that's my idea, was to write both from the perspective of a teenager and from the perspective of the parents, and how we tend to look upon things different.
I've got a question from one of our audience members. Freddie asked if you use outlines or if you write intuitively.
Oh, actually, I do more or less exactly like Steve Kavanaugh. I have an idea. In this case, it was the idea that my teenage daughter was accused of murder. What would happen? What would I do as a father? That's the idea, and then I sat down and started writing without really knowing anything else about the story. So I'm a very organic writer, and as Steve said, that means that you have to go back and rewrite. But I prefer that. I prefer rewriting to planning.
Yeah, we editors love organic writers. No. And how about your new book? Wie zwijgt stem toe is the Dutch title. It's coming out in May in next year. Can you tell us a little bit more about that new book, if you know which book I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. It's a book. It was released in this summer in Sweden, and it's a book about also about teenagers and their parents, because it takes place in my small hometown Trelleborg, which is the southest town of Sweden, and we are about 30,000 people living in Trelleborg, so it's a quite small town, and almost everybody knows everybody. So my idea was, what if two teenagers get to, well, they become a couple and they fall in love with each other, and then they come home to their parents and tell them this, and their parents know exactly who the other kids' parents are, and they're not at all fond of them. So it's a story. Of course, it's a story also about. It starts out with a murder. Someone gets murdered, and then we have to look back and see what has happened, what has led us to this murder, and then we get to know these two families who are quite different. One is successful and has a lot of money, and the other is not very successful. And so it's in a sort of a way, it's kind of Romeo and Juliet story, which in a small Swedish town.
Which is exactly what we all love, of course, about Scandinavian crime. While traveling the world, have you ever found out why that is, that we all love stories from little small Swedish villages and cities?
Well, coming to it's always so great coming to Netherlands or Germany, because so many people they love Sweden, and they can, some can even speak Swedish, and they've always been to some places in Sweden and so on. So I think Dutch and German readers are really the best, because it's so great to meet with them. And then I think it's this, we have, many people have this idea of Sweden to be like the perfect country, and I think they like when we writers expose that it's not that perfect. People get murdered, and well, we might have a beautiful landscape and nature, but we still have evil persons as well.
Yes, at least you die at a beautiful place. That's
That's always something.
yeah. I think that's all the time we have, Mattias. Thank you very much for the answers.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Of course.
viewers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.